Hello everybody, Tall Paul here with Left-Handed Knife Reviews. Today we are doing a review on the Civivi Elementum, model number C907M. Let's get right into it. Let's start off with our facts and figures. The Civivi Elementum has a just under 3-inch blade made in D2 steel. On our model, these scales are made of micarta. These are affixed to a stainless steel liner, and the whole handle measures just a smidge over 4 inches. At the time of this review, this knife sells for $52.50 on Blade HQ, and there's also one with G10 scales that sells right at $50. I'm going to put a few items on the table for size comparison, as the actual dimensions of the knife will appear on the screen. First up is our unsharpened Dixon Ticonderoga pencil. Followed up by the Spyderco Paramilitary 2, and finish it off with the Ontario Rat Model 2. Alright, let's move on to Larry and I's experience while using the knife. During our review process, the Elementum was nice to use. The micarta has a nice feel to it. The size of the handle gave almost enough room for our hands, and we were able to hold the knife comfortably in a few ways. Holding it like a chef's knife was the preferred way for us to hold it. Choking up on the knife was something that I did steer away from. Just there's not a whole lot of room up here. But this knife was overall incredibly pleasant to be carried for review. Let's take a look at what the Elementum succeeds at. The blade is a hollow ground blade, and it has a really good shape. This blade cuts incredibly well, and the factory edge out of the box was fantastic. This knife was not sharpened during our review process. This knife also has a great little action. This was one of the first flipper knives that I had purchased, and I flipped this knife a lot. The detent on it is really good, and you have to, try pretty hard to fail at deploying the knife. The Elementum is also incredibly lightweight. That definitely adds to the fidget factor, as it doesn't have the fatigue of a heavier knife in the hand. And this also makes carrying this knife easier. The pocket feel of this knife is great. It disappears in the pocket, and it's quite nice to carry. Alright, let's take a look at what the Civivi Elementum struggled with. This knife really only struggled in one area for us, and that was the size. For our larger hands, holding this, our pinky kept kind of wanting to slide off the back. Normally this would be rectified by just choking up on the knife a little bit more, but this area up here that appears to be either a finger choil or a finger rest is incredibly close to the blade, especially for somebody with larger fingers. It kind of just almost rests on the blade. Someone with smaller fingers or hands will not have this problem at all, and the size itself did not make using the knife difficult. It was just on occasion an annoyance for us. Alright, let's hop over to points of note. Points of note are neutral things we want to mention, but fall in the gray area between successes and struggles. The blade stock on this is a little bit thick, but the way the blade is ground, this does not hinder the cutting ability of the knife at all. This knife also comes in a lot of options. There are lots of different colors of scales that you can get. I've seen purple and black. There's a couple different types of wood. This is the micarta. There's G10. And then there are also different blade options. This is the D2. They have a Damascus as well as an S35VN. All of these options are anywhere between $50 and $100, which is really awesome. It is also packaged incredibly well. This was the first Civivi I had ever bought brand new, and it comes in a nice little pouch and has a little microfiber cleaning cloth. For the price point, that's really nice. Alright, now for everything that's left. The part of the review we talk about everything about this knife left-handed. This knife is a flipper knife. Basically the same experience deploying as a right-handed individual. This knife does have a liner lock, so you're going to have your normal liner lock issues The lock on this knife is not very pronounced, but it does have a nice little bit of jimping, which makes it very easy to catch it and drag it over to release the lock on it. I've had zero issues manipulating this lock one-handed. So far, so good. Good left-handed deploy, good left-handed lock. Let's move on to the pocket clip. Pocket clip is right-hand side only. I believe they did this to reduce the weight on the knife further. If you look inside of the Civivi Elementum, there are 2 screw holes holding where the clip on. If you look on the other side where the liner would be, it has been skeletonized to reduce the weight of the knife. So there is actually no spot for those 2 screws to screw into, even if they did make the holes. So in order to save a fraction of a tenth of an ounce, this does not have a left-handed option. Also, I'm sure a certain amount is just to maintain that beautiful look. The show side of this knife does look really good, but that means that you don't have left-hand carry. I did try to carry this reverse left-handed, but I did experience a deploy in my pocket. For those who don't know, on a flipper knife, if you put a knife on the left-hand side of your pants and something should work its way up and hit the flipper tab, the knife will deploy as much as it can in your pocket. And I did experience that once. So, not the most left-handed friendly carry options. So that's everything that left. Good left-handed deploy, good left-handed lock, not a good left-handed clip. Let's move on to our recommendations and final recap. We recommend this knife to anyone looking for a budget knife that is a great blade and is looking for something that's a little bit more, refined. With all the options available for the Elementum, most people will be able to find one that suits them, really well. This is a great EDC knife and it carries fantastically. This knife does provide a close experience for both left and right-handed people. The only people we can't recommend this knife for is for people who require a left-hand side carry. If you don't require that left-hand side carry and you're looking for a knife in this size, this is a really good choice, both in fidget factor and in cutting tasks. Thank you for joining us today. Be sure to subscribe for more great knife content. We'll see you next time.